Have you ever been in the gym and you've just felt your back go, or you're doing an exercise and it's meant to be in your glutes or something, but you only feel it in your back and you're so confused, you think you're doing the right technique, but it's just all loading into your back. Now, this could be due to bad technique, but one of the biggest things is due to bad inner core strength. Basically, you're weak in your inner core, and don't worry, I think a lot of us don't know what our inner core strength is, and I personally had the experience of learning that I had a really bad core strength. I had really bad inner core strength when I was younger. Now, I had this experience back in the day. I was doing heptathlons and I had bad back pain all year. I realized that I had fractured my L4s in my back, which was really bad. One of them was almost all the way through. So I had extremely bad back pain. I didn't know why. And after that, I had gone to physios and doctors, and physios and Pilates instructors actually helped fix my problem. Now, I had like a physio cross Pilates instructor that went, Desi, your inner core strength is terrible. And I was like, inner core? What is inner core? And yeah, she basically opened my eyes up to what inner core actually is. And when you think about when you're building a house or something like that, you obviously got to build the base really strong first to be able to build a strong house. Just like us, you've got to build the base really strong to build us up really strong as well. And if you have a weak base and you have no base at all, once you're trying to build yourself up, you're just going to be weak, or you're going to injure yourself, and it's just going to cause so much more damage in the long run, and you're not going to see progression in the gym, unfortunately. I'm going to go through the full program where I started when I was injured, and I had to build up those blocks first, from those little exercises up into some intense exercises. So I'll show you the program that I went through to build up my inner core strength. And I am telling you now, if you do not have inner core strength, you're not going to see progress. You're not going to see progress in your compound lifts because you're not going to be able to lift properly. You're not going to have the strength to hold that lift up. You're not going to see progress in your abdominal muscles and building up those abs. You're not going to see progress in your fitness and your athletic performance. You need to build this strength up first to be able to hit those goals. And I always go on about like my abs and how to get abs and stuff like that, and it is a 360 effect, okay? You need to do ab work, you need to do compound lifts, you need to do cardio work, and you need to eat good. Now, to achieve those things as well, you need to have a strong foundation, aka your inner core strength. So we're going to go through those exercises, and I'm going to explain to you how to do them and what to be looking out for. Let's get into it.
Okay, so now we need to get into position. So we lie flat on the floor, we have our feet flat on the floor as well, up close to our glutes. So what I'm doing here is now pulling my hips into the floor so my back is completely flat on that floor. I'm just checking there with my hand to see how much room I have between my back and the floor. We want to keep that completely flat. Most important part now, we're engaging that pelvic floor, so pulling it tight without pulling our outer core tight. So what I do to cue is pull my belly button to the ground, so pulling it all the way through to the ground, okay? So really engaging your pelvic floor, just like you're holding onto a P. Now we go up to the rib cage, and we want to get those ribs to sink into the floor, okay? So pulling that torso in a little bit tighter and smaller, so sinking down into the pelvic floor. Remember, while doing all this, I know it sounds like a lot, but you need to continue to breathe normally without protruding your stomach to go up. It needs to be completely flat, but you need to continue to breathe. Once you have successfully found out how to really hold that inner core tight, you're going to hold that position, slowly bring your feet up to tabletop position, and then we're going to just drop one foot down at a time. Now take your time with this one, okay? We really don't want those abs to bound up like a mountain. We want to keep it flat like we did before when we were pulling through down to the floor with our pelvic floor. So I would just do a couple on each side. So I'll count to 10 on each side, doing this very slowly. Now the next exercise we're going to do, which is a little bit harder, is double foot, okay? So remember to really hold that core, that inner core in tight without protruding that outer outer core out like a mountain. Now, a way to feel that your pelvic floor is really engaged is holding your hands on there while you do the exercise and making sure it's your pelvic floor that's pulling in and not your out of core. Next exercises you can do is just putting your feet out a little bit further in that tabletop position and holding on, okay? Doing like an ISO hold. Another one that is more extreme is putting your feet out nice and straight and holding that inner core in tight. Now make sure that you are holding the same correct position. If it does ever mound, like your abs mound, and you don't feel like it's fully in your pelvic floor anymore and your rib cage isn't sinking to the floor and you're not flat on your back, reset. Okay, engage your core again, engage that pelvic floor. Now moving on to our elbows, we're going to go into a plank position. Now with our plank position, remember you need to pull through those hips, so bringing that bum under. Okay, we need to have our back nice and flat from our head all the way down, okay, to that bum to our toes. Trying to make as straight as line as we can, okay? We don't want to poke the bum up into the sky and we don't want to poke the hips down into the ground. Next one we're going to do is a bird dog. Okay, so now this is a great warm-up exercise, especially before doing your lift. I do it every single time. It activates your glutes as well as your core. So see how I was just holding onto my inner core there? I was pulling through my pelvic floor because I want to pull it towards my spine, making sure I have a nice flat line and I'm keeping those hips straight and forward. I would go for about 10 on each side, nice straight arm and leg as it comes out. Okay, now we're going on to intense core exercises here, guys. So making sure you have aced everything else beforehand, okay, and you're really able to engage your core properly and safely before doing these ones. First one is a plank on the ball, making sure that we have balance and stability in this position, okay, really pulling through that pelvic floor, pulling those hips through and under, okay, keeping a nice straight line from our head to our toes. Now moving on to plank circles, or you could call them around the world. So I'll go around the right side 10 times, around the left side 10 times. Okay, now we're going to place our feet onto the ball, making sure we have that nice straight line from our toes to our shoulders, keeping those hips tucked under and pulling through our pelvic floor. Remember, a short torso. Now going into 10 knee tucks, okay, so pulling those knees nice and close to our chest and into those elbows, okay, holding really tight onto that pelvic floor, keeping that position. Now keeping that back nice and flat and those hips down, we're going to pull those legs up to the sky. Okay, this is a really big balancing one, keeping one leg on the ball and one leg up. That will really challenge you. Then we're going to go into a very challenging one, which is a pike. Okay, make sure you do this very slowly, pulling up with that inner core, okay, to go all the way up to the sky and then going down. But make sure you don't dip down too low that you're going to sag the hips into the ground. Keep a nice straight position.
I'm a little out of breath because the more you get through it and go through all the exercises, the much more challenging it does get. Once you get to the Swiss balls, that's like a very intense inner core workout, that one. You need so much strength and you need to be able to be getting the other ones on the floor right before you move on to this one. So remember to breathe in, pull your belly button to the ground, okay? And then your back should be flat on the ground. You're going to pull your ribs in, okay, making your torso smaller, and then really pulling through that pelvic floor, which is so important. Grabbing it instead of grabbing the outside abs, okay? We don't want to be tensing our abs on the outside. We want to be pulling through our belly button, pulling through that pelvic floor on the inside. That is where our inner core is. So start with these exercises. Start with the ones on the floor first, the easier ones. Really getting your pelvic floor and your inner core working first, and then you can move on to the more intense ones once you feel comfortable and you feel like you need a little bit more challenge. Remember to rest and work through these at your own ability, okay? Don't rush it. Really take your time with these, okay? Very slow, tedious tasks that I'm trying to get you guys to do, but you need to do it slowly. You need to do it at that speed to really get it right, okay? Once you've done this and you keep working on it, you're going to build that inner core and you're going to be able to lift those PBs in the gym. You're going to be able to find those abs that you've been looking for. You're going to reach those athletic performances. You're going to reduce injury by so much, okay? My biggest cue when I'm in the gym, when I'm squatting, is holding onto that inner core, so really embracing my core and pushing through those glutes as I come up, okay? I always tell people in the gym, I've got 2 cues when I'm doing a lift. So when I'm squatting, when I'm deadlifting, when I'm doing anything. Holding that core in real tight, pulling through the glutes as you come up, okay? So when I'm squatting, I hold that core in really tight, go down into a squat, and then I push through my glutes to come up. Same thing as a deadlift, and I know a lot of people feel it in their back when they do deadlifts, and that's because you're not holding your core in tight, you're not pulling through those glutes, okay? Hold that core in tight, really pull through those glutes, put all the weight into your core and your glutes, do not put it through your back, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed more of an informational video today. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on your push notifications. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.